Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Wednesday. A possibility of thunderstorms and light rain the remainder of the day with a gentle breeze out of the east at 8 miles per hour and temps near 79. Tonight we will have possible thunderstorms and light sprinkles and be very warm at 73. A variety of mostly clouds and a possibility of thunderstorms tomorrow and a high 82. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Hewitt Tire and Auto and Hometown Towing is a combination that's hard to beat. With years and years of experience in vehicle repair, foreign and domestic, name brand tires, and fair prices have established Hewitt Tire and Auto as a leader that folks can call on again and again. And if you need a tow, call Hometown Towing at 850-265-1562. Hewitt Tire and Auto and Hometown Towing, an unbeatable combination. Airport Road, Panama City. That Cajun Place is your LSU and Saints football headquarters. Saints and LSU fans, wear your team colors and score a free Jell-O shot when your team scores a touchdown. Only at That Cajun Place. Get $5 pitchers on select draft beers during all live football games. Catch all the games at once with the NFL package on 27 large TVs at That Cajun Place. And the best wings on the beach. The locals' favorite, That Cajun Place. Looking to stand out and bring more customers to your business? Leon Visuals has you covered. At Leon Visuals, we specialize in eye-catching photography, dynamic videos, and stunning drone shots. Whether you're running a restaurant, a boutique, or a real estate company, Leon Visuals creates media that boosts your online presence and social media content that attracts real, measurable results. Visit leon-visuals.com or call 725-373-3826.
Life can throw a lot at us, but what helps us through it is knowing we have a place where we feel loved, grounded, and safe. A place where we belong. A place called home. But for thousands of youth living on the streets, there's no such thing as home. Out here, it's a predatory world that can destroy lives forever. At Covenant House, we care for homeless and at-risk youth, working in communities just like yours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Here, these kids will get a shower, clean clothes, nourishing meals, and a safe place to sleep. Our caring staff teach life skills, offer stability, and encourage kids to believe in themselves so they stay off the streets for good. We're committed to giving lost, scared, and hurting children a place to go, a place to call home. To help or get help, go to safeplacetosleep.org.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you ready?
Okay, let's begin.
Trip. The Afternoon Underdog Trip. Live and local. Inside the Talk House.
Unleash the dragon.
On the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's going on, Northwest Florida? You are now riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs here on ESPN Northwest Florida. I don't know why I say Northwest Florida. It's Panama City, man. I know that we are ESPN Northwest Florida, but if you're listening, more than likely you're very close to Panama City, if not in Panama City, or possibly in Port St. Joe if you're tuned in on 101.9. I'm David Hayes along with AG, Banji, and Caveman Rick. And we are your home for Auburn Tiger basketball, and we're going to get you guys over to Neville Arena tonight for the Auburn Tigers hosting the Vermont Catamounts tonight. 6:30 coverage will start for a 7 p.m. tip, so keep it locked in. After the Afternoon Underdogs, we'll get you to 30 minutes of Paul Feinbaum, and then we will dive straight into the Auburn basketball game. Well, the pregame coverage of the Auburn basketball game with Brad Law and the gang. Want to give you guys a quick heads up. The Emerald Coast Cruising event will cause temporary road closures. According to officials, portions of West Park between Pier Park Drive and L.C. Hilton Jr. Drive will be closed on Thursday, November 7th and Friday, November 8th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Locals and visitors should avoid this area and plan accordingly for this event, the Emerald Coast Cruising event. What is the Emerald Coast Cruising event, AG?
I believe it's like hot rods and classic cars, right?
There you go. I don't know, man. I just saw this and I was like, the people need to know about this. We had a big day in the world of sports yesterday, the trade deadline, and the college football playoff rankings dropped yesterday. Me and Tyler stayed after the show to watch it. I was so happy that they got it done without even taking a commercial. But, you know, before they started talking about everything, it was nice just for them to just rip through the top 25 there. And it was a lot of fun watching that with Tyler and kind of getting his thoughts. And whenever they took Ohio State and, you know, you see Georgia pop up as number 3, and Ohio State is above them at number 2. He was like, what? I wasn't expecting that. I was like, I mean, I think they have a little bit of merit for that, but it was shocking. And I not shocking as much to say this. I'll say this. Don't give Georgia this bulletin board material. Like, now you've given another reason for Kirby Smart to get into his guys' ears and be like, hey, they don't believe you can do it. They got you at number 3, not number 2.
I think Oregon's schedule dictates that they be over Georgia, or Ohio State's schedule dictates that they be over Georgia at this point, right? I mean, obviously they lost to Oregon.
2 ranked teams, 2 ranked wins.
Who?
For Ohio State, right? Is it just
Penn State?
Yeah. Penn State and Oregon. Oh, no.
They lost to Oregon.
Yeah, they lost to Oregon.
Michigan. No, they play them later, right?
Yeah, they play them final. But anyway,
game of the year. I think at this point I can see it. I mean, you saw Georgia. It hasn't been Georgia of late. I mean, Carson Beck's really been struggling. So there's an eye test, right? Mm-hmm. You know, that comes into play there as well. I think Ohio State is probably playing below what they're capable of. And I think it's fair to say Georgia is as well. I mean, since the second half of the Alabama game, they've been good. But I wouldn't say they've been...
The second half of the Alabama game is the part where they were great. The first half of the Alabama game, and really the 2 games leading into that.
Since that second half, I haven't really looked at them as like, man, they're world beaters at this point.
What about when they absolutely dominated Texas? In Texas.
Yep. Yeah, that was the number 1 team at the time.
I get that, but I don't think Texas is what we thought Texas was.
Right now, that's their lone loss, and they did beat Vanderbilt at the house, which not many teams have been able to do this year.
And they lost to Alabama, who apparently Tennessee, the entire state of Tennessee is
the entire state of Tennessee taking care of business when it comes to Alabama football this year. And Georgia's got here's the other thing I don't think Georgia fans have much to worry about is they've got Ole Miss this Saturday, which will be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, coverage starting at 2 o'clock for a 2:30 kick. And then the very next week, they got Tennessee. So they've got an opportunity with their schedule to show what they're made of. Ohio State has Indiana, and that's really it. And if you look at their schedule, I can see where you're coming from of having, you know, they lost to Oregon, and then their only other ranked win is against Penn State. I don't know how impressive that is. Honestly, I get that they had the number beside their name, but we're still talking about Penn State. Mm-hmm. And it's any time that James Franklin and the Nittany Lions are a top 5 team and they're playing a top 5 team, why do we even, we might as well not watch the game because we know what's going to happen. Banji, your thoughts on all of this?
You're preaching, bro. It's true. Like, man,
just hit me with the amen then, bro.
Amen, for real, because I've watched year after year Penn State, you know, get off to like a 5-0, 6-0, and then they run into Ohio State, and each year they always lose and then they plummet. So, I mean, I'm more on the side of Georgia. To me, I'm a little biased, but Georgia I feel like should be the top team because what they've had to face and go against.
No, over Oregon?
Yes.
Oh.
It's one of those things where I've watched a lot of college football in my life.
Yeah.
In my short life. But Dylan Gabriel, I've seen this, like, how old is he at this point? Because I remember him at UCF.
He's not as old as Tyler Shuck, that's for certain.
I remember him at UCF. That's how, like, far back I remember watching him. And he was not great there. Oklahoma, And then now...
He's only 23 years old.
Really?
Which I guess is somewhat
So it's like 5 years maybe in
yeah, and one of those
I was say in the league, but
I think he had a tough and a bad injury at UCF, then transferred to Oklahoma, and then so. I mean, I could see the argument for putting Georgia above Oregon. I like to see the undefeated teams, in the rightful spot. But then, at the same token that I say that, then why don't I make the argument for Miami to be 2, and then my Indiana to be 3? And that's where you really start opening up these cans of worms, and it makes it so difficult, man. And we're going to be seeing Indiana and Ohio State. I mean, I was born in Indiana, so I have no ties to the university, to IU rather. But I would love to see them take down Ohio State. I would love to see that.
I think they're the darlings. They're the Cincinnatis of this year, right? I mean,
the Cinderella of the Sweet 16,
right? And getting back to Banshie's point about Georgia, I get it. I'm not trying to say Georgia's not a phenomenal team. They are, but I feel like Georgia, in this part of their schedule, they've got a Jekyll and Hyde team in Ole Miss coming up.
Yeah.
They've got a Jekyll and Hyde team in Tennessee coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I feel like both of those should be winnable games, but we don't know which Ole Miss team is going to show up. Are we going to see the Ole Miss that just hung 63 on Arkansas and former Louisville wide receiver going nuts with 5 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Are we going to get that team, or are we going to get the Kentucky team?
Well, and I also think that if you're Georgia, again, going back to Kirby Smart being able to use this as a bulletin board material type situation, I would keep Oregon at number 1, regardless. For me, I think that they've proven enough, even if it was Ohio State coming on the road. Now, at the beginning of the year, I was weary of, is Oregon even up to snuff to what we thought they would be? They've had their struggles too. But they've turned it on. Then they travel time zones and take care of business against Michigan, which has proven to be a tough thing for teams this year when they're traveling 2 or more time zones, especially in the Big Ten, because that's where it happens more than anywhere outside of the ACC. Teams struggle with that travel process, the jet lag. But what they did last week against Michigan, it was like, all right. And again, I'm not sitting here saying Michigan's one of the best teams in the league. They don't have a number beside their name. They're just not the same team that they were last year. Maybe Coach Moore can get them built back up, and we'll see what the future holds for the Wolverines. This year, they're just not it. And we'll see if Indiana takes care of business the way that they should, being a 14.5-point favorite against the Michigan Wolverines, which is absolutely wild. Yeah, great point there. I think if you're Georgia, though, I would like the fact that I'm sitting behind Ohio State, because really and truthfully it doesn't matter, because if Georgia wins the SEC championship, which right now they're kind of on the fast track with one of the harder schedules left in the SEC, though they've got the number 1 strength of record, they've got the number 1 strength of schedule as well. I think that if you're Georgia, though, it's okay, because you win the SEC, you're going to be right in that spot. The only difference is you're either going to have a 2 and a 2, or your ranking and your seeding is going to be the same exact number, whereas once we get to the college football playoff, your ranking essentially goes out of the window, because the only thing that matters at that point is your seeding. So was there any other disjustices you guys think the committee may have made? It doesn't even have to be within the top 12, the top 25. One comes right to my mind. They push Boise State all the way up to the top at 12, right? Which I don't have an issue with that. However, the other darling, if you will, of the group of 5s is Army right now, with an opportunity to take care of business against Notre Dame, which regardless of where Army's at, if Notre Dame loses to Army, I don't see how they get in with 2 losses, those being the magnitude of your losses. Not that Army's a bad loss, but when that is combined with the loss against NIU, Northern Illinois, that's just not a good look. I don't think those are the teams we should be letting in the college football playoffs. So the AP's got Army at 18, and then the CFP committee dropped them at 25 yesterday.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Because we had a discussion in our group chat.
Yeah.
I brought it up.
A fun discussion.
Right, and I brought it up, and I said, what do we do with Army? Say Army goes undefeated, and, which includes a win at Notre Dame, and then you've got Boise, who has 1 loss sitting there. Granted, it was to Oregon, right? So now we're sitting there going, okay, well, let's see. You have an undefeated Army team that is going to be playing Navy on December 14th, and then the selection show I think is like December 6th, maybe 7th.
Yeah, it'll be the day or the Saturday or Sunday after, or the Sunday after the conference championship.
Right. So, like, what do we do with Army here? If Army's going in undefeated, do they put them in the 12 team? And then what happens if they lose to Navy? The next week. Like, it's a weird situation, right? Because you can't postpone. You can't move up the Army Navy game because of scheduling. You can't postpone the rankings because of bowl selections and things like that. So I feel like the Army at 25 was like an acknowledgement of this kind of loophole, maybe,
right?
And trying to keep them down so that even if they do beat Notre Dame,
but they got to soar at that point, right?
They go up to 19 or 18. You know what I mean? And then you still have Boise State up there, even though they have one loss, so they don't have to argue with themselves and have this big chaotic mess that we all want. Right? I mean, I think you're on the same page with me that I would love to see them go, okay, what the heck do we do with Army?
With or without Alabama in the playoff, I want chaos. Like the first year of the college football playoff being at 12 teams, chaos is just so much fun to root for. I would love to see a world, and it's not going to happen this year, but Vanderbilt just to find a way into the SEC championship. It's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen because, Texas A&M, they to a large extent control their own destiny. So does Texas, though, right? Because those two teams are going to meet at the end of the year, and if Georgia wins out and Texas A&M win out, the winner of that game is essentially going to be taking on Georgia in the SEC championship. And you could make the argument that both of those teams are going to be getting. I mean, Texas. Oh, it would be tough. A season-ending loss. I don't know if Texas gets in with two
losses to Georgia.
They still get in.
Well, no. Absolutely SEC championship, I would say. If they lose in the SEC championship, I'm saying if they lose the regular season finale to Texas A&M, though. Which could happen because Texas A&M has looked good. They look a lot better at the house this year than what they have at least last week on the road.
It's going to depend what happens in the other Power 5 or Power 4 conferences, right?
Right.
I mean, if you have the ACC just cannibalizing itself, and then obviously that leaves one. If you have, the Big 12. I mean, right now we're looking at what BYU.
Yeah,
in the Big Y-12 in the Big 12.
The Big Y-12,
in the Big Y-12, right?
So, which is I would say, such a fun conference this year. The Big 12.
It's very fun. It's always Big 12 is always fun.
Yeah,
it's all offense and no defense, right?
But I think even more so this year with just the teams that they've added and the teams that are the ones that are on top, because we've been used to Texas and Oklahoma dominating it for so long, and then an outlier every now and again. Whereas now it's just fresh meat all over the place for the most part.
But I think at this point we can probably count Michigan out. I think the winner of the IU Ohio State game is probably locked in. The winner, and then the loser is probably out, right? Because I don't think IU. Sorry, Max, but I don't think IU has enough in the tank after one loss to Ohio State to make it into the playoff.
Depends on the loss for me. Yeah. If they lose by
25, 24.
Oh, you lose by 3 possessions. I think that kind of it shows that you're a fraud. But you are on the road. But if you stick to that 10-point loss, or let's say that it even goes to 17, but it's 10 points for the majority of the game, and then Ohio State gets a last-minute touchdown or something to exploit the score, then I think that the committee's really got a tough issue on their hands.
They'd be outside looking in, I'd feel like, if that were to happen.
Right, but how wild is it that we could be looking at a potential one team out of the ACC, one team out of the
Big 12?
Big 10.
One team out of the Big 10?
Well, potentially.
All right. The way that it's set up right now is hunky-dory for the Big 10, right?
So let me ask you a question. So say Indiana beats Ohio State, they go to the Big 10 championship.
Penn State more than likely wins
Oregon,
out, right?
And then Oregon beats IU.
So Indiana beats Ohio State. If Indiana beats Ohio State in their next loss,
I think that's it for them. If they beat Ohio State, I think they're in.
Even with a loss at Oregon?
Because I really don't think if you're in the Big Ten and the SEC and your record is up there, and it has to be now because we're not talking about divisions, we're talking about the 2 best teams of the conference. I think if you're in the Big Ten and the SEC, that if you're in the conference championship game, you're almost a shoo-in to get in. Now the question is then with the Big 12, like if you're talking about BYU and Iowa State, I don't know if Iowa State, if BYU wins, then no, Iowa State would have 2 losses at that point, provided that that's what the matchup is. Now you look at the ACC with Miami and SMU right now on a collision course for the ACC championship. Well, with Miami being undefeated, if they knock off SMU, then I don't think that SMU really has any business being in the college football playoff. A team that could upset teams in a college football playoff.
That offense is electric.
They really are. However, I could see a world where Miami suffers their first loss in the conference championship to SMU, and then Miami still gets in, and SMU does via being the conference champion. I mean, there's just so many things that could happen at this point.
So
there's nothing set in stone.
So if Ohio State loses to IU, they're out, right?
That's another tough one, because now if Ohio State's out, well,
because it's IU and Oregon 2 losses.
Right. IU and IU, regardless of them having an 8 or 9 by their name, is still not a team that you want to lose to, though, right? Like if you're Ohio State, because of the whole brand recognition, which I think it's a reality that we have to deal with, whether we like it or not. Yeah. The brand recognition is something that plays a huge role.
Sales, right? I mean, obviously, if IU is able to host, a home game or something. In that first round, then they're going to sell out. But how many IU football fans are traveling across the country to go to a bowl game?
I will say this.
It might be their Super Bowl because they haven't had that yet. This might be like where they spend their life savings because they've been wanting it for so long.
When they played in Jacksonville, it was the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. I was there as media. It was Tennessee and Indiana, and that could be the game that they play in the college football playoff. Indiana traveled very well.
Did they?
For that game. Yeah, and that was the Gator Bowl, the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl isn't like some premier bowl game either. It's not, one of your New Year's Six or anything like that, and they traveled very well, but that goes to Caveman Rick's point.
Yeah, think about, go ahead.
No.
I was just going to say, like, the Detroit Lions, like when they were talking about maybe going to Super Bowl, was it last year and stuff, and people were just talking about, like, like old folks that have been Lions fans for like 60 years that haven't seen anything, like crying in the stands because this is like the greatest moment that they've seen like in their team's history.
Right. David Neat says Oregon really does deserve to be number 1. However, the separation between the top 6 teams right now is minimal. And I agree with that. I do agree. Well, I'm big on Oregon being number 1, but on top of that, the separation, though, it literally is minimal. And we look at Oregon's schedule right now, and they've got Maryland, Wisconsin, and Washington left to go. Washington being at the house as well. So that's
it's iffy.
I don't think that they have any problem going undefeated from here on out. Now, then let's say Indiana beats Ohio State, then they beat Oregon in the conference championship game.
I think they both go.
Yeah.
No, of course they both go. But does Indiana not rocket up to number 1 if they're sitting at number 5?
It depends on what Georgia
does.
If
they beat Ohio State and Oregon, and Georgia sit there.
Make Vandy number 1.
I'm already ready to do Vandy. I've been ready to do that since they took down Bama. I've been trying to put Vandy. Yeah, for sure.
If Carson Beck was playing better, would you then be more wanting to
define better? 6 interceptions the last 3 games or 9?
See, but the thing is, they're still winning though. That's
See, they're winning despite the turnovers.
That's why I feel like they're at 3, right? But if he was playing any better, if he was just average, would they be up at 1?
To me, and again, I'm as an Alabama fan. Last year, I felt like Florida State should have been in over Alabama because undefeated. I feel like when you're undefeated and a conference champion, that means more than being 11-1 and passing every single eye test. And that's what's so hard about college football is we're whittling down 133 teams into 12 teams. Yeah. And we used to do it 4. We used to just let a computer, which essentially I feel like they use a lot of computers to come up with what we have today for our rankings. But yeah, it's hard to whittle something down from 133 to 12 teams, and if we're not going to go off of undefeated, I can get behind Indiana not being top 5 because of their schedule. But here's the flip side. Ohio State hasn't blown out every team that they've played. They had a 4-point win against Nebraska. They really didn't look good against Penn State.
At all.
They really did. They haven't looked good in 2.5 weeks. Indiana has any eye test you want to give
With
them.
a backup QB.
With a backup QB. Coach Signetti's just doing great things over there. So I'm not saying, I really don't think that. But, man, it's just wild to think about. If they were to beat Ohio State and then they go on to beat Oregon in the conference championship, of course, Oregon still gets in. There's no doubt about that. They'll be the number 1 team in
Max
the land.
is not sitting comfortably right now listening to this.
Well, there's no way.
Don't cross your legs, Max. Don't cross your legs.
Oh, but and the fun part about this is we get to talk about this every day up until it starts happening. So we've got a lot of great games to dive into. But coming up next, Banji is going to start breaking down the games from last week, and we'll preview some. We've got a playoff game this week, don't we? Arnold and Pine Forest? Or maybe that's next week and I don't know. Let me check Max Preps and we'll get right back to you. But we're going to talk about it regardless because I got it on the list. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida.
This just in. Get the latest sports news, scores, and updates from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Follow us on Facebook for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes action, live streams, and the chance to interact with your favorite hosts.
Stay connected. Stay connected. Stay connected.
Join the conversation on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Search for ESPN Northwest Florida and crush the follow button.
I follow you on social media.
We're always here to keep you in the game.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Wednesday. A possibility of thunderstorms and light rain the remainder of the day with a gentle breeze out of the east at 8 miles per hour and temps near 79. Tonight we will have possible thunderstorms and light sprinkles and be very warm at 73. A variety of mostly clouds and a possibility of thunderstorms tomorrow and a high 82. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. We invite you to stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new 2024 Kia. You'll see why everyone is talking about Kia. The 2024 Kia will give you the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. The SUV family has movement that inspires. Drive away today in a new 2024 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. Fuel the thrill and command the road in a luxury sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Drive away today in a new 2024 Kia K5. Performance, power, and design built just for you. Discover the new Kia at Bill Bird Kia. Bill Bird Kia, the original home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you just like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty.
From the Auburn Sports Network, Alpha Insurance presents Auburn Sports Today. Here's Brad Law.
Your 11th-ranked Auburn men's basketball team tips off its regular season tonight against the Vermont Catamounts, a team that's won the America East Conference title 3 years in a row.
It's consistent with our philosophy. We want to play mid-major championship-type teams. And this team was 13 seed in the NCAA tournament. We lost to a 12-seeded Yale team, and they're very much like Yale. I hate to tell you. They shoot it really well. I actually think they're better defensively than Yale. They average giving up 63 points a game. So this will not be a stat sheet stuffing game at all, which unfortunately Friday night was. And I can't even begin to tell my guys how different this opponent's going to be. They're going to run the shot clock down late, and then they're going to shot fake, and we're going to fall, and they're going to get the ball back. We're guard again. Time of possession in this game is going to be all in favor of Vermont.
And the Catamounts beat UAB Monday night, despite being significantly outsized and therefore significantly out-rebounded by the Blazers. So it's game 2 for them, the first of 2 games this week for Bruce Pearl's squad.
We're going to play Houston on Saturday, okay? We need a test. We need a closer game. We need a game where possessions are going to matter, because the Houston game is going to be a very low possession game because of how well they guard. Neither team is going to be able to score in that one. So great opener, lots to learn from.
And the lessons to be learned start at 7 o'clock tonight. We'll be live at Neville Arena with Andy Burcham and Coach Randall Dickey for pregame coverage starting at 6:30 Central. Until tomorrow, I'm Brad Law for Auburn Sports Today.
From Tyndall Air Force Base to the Hathaway Bridge, we're live and local. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back, and tomorrow night the NFL plays here on ESPN Northwest Florida. It's going to be AG's Cincinnati. Have we had any good YouTube comments?
Jimmy's in here, XO's in here. I asked
what
Jimmy,
up, boys?
Jimmy said, "Go Tigers," and I said, "How's your hat bet?" And he said, "It's tempting."
Oh, wait, do we have one on there?
I think you and Jimmy have a hat bet,
I got
right?
a few of them out there.
Yeah,
I've lost one, and I've paid my dues, and one of our listeners, Rob, has paid his dues, and then I've got like 3 of them out there who still owe me some hats, so let's get them in. I don't got enough hats on my wall at the house. But yeah, Jimmy, we can absolutely make if we already have one down, then yes, let's make that happen, because I haven't had a new Alabama hat in quite some time. So looking forward to that. But tomorrow night, coverage starting at 6:30 for a 7:15 kick. It's going to be AG, Cincinnati Bengals, and the Baltimore Ravens. And we were just getting a little bit of back and forth action in the building here between Banji and AG on what we think we're going to see from that game tomorrow night. Your thoughts, AG, and then Banji, give us a little preview of the Bengals and the Ravens tomorrow night.
It's always an offensive game when these two teams meet up. A couple weeks ago, it was come down to overtime. Right, Lamar Jackson has the miraculous play like he always does, and then we have a botched snap right on a field goal, and we lose the game. That game, Derrick Henry did not play very well. BJ Hill was playing. I think it was his first game back out of being injured. So, but he's questionable for this game. T. Higgins is doubtful, which means T. Higgins is out. Which again, I'm not as worried about T. Higgins as more as I am BJ Hill trying to stop Derrick Henry. Because if BJ Hill is out, Derrick Henry's going crazy on us. Because the first 3 weeks we didn't have BJ Hill, we were just getting gashed. So
that's like par for the course when it comes to the Bengals starting their seasons, though, right?
Yeah, 100%. But Burrow is on another planet right now.
Yeah, he is. Huge fantasy performance,
and he always plays well against Baltimore. So it's going to be one of those things where. How pissed off is he?
The AFC North is starting to live up to the hype that it had before the season, outside of one team. But, it doesn't take a Sherlock Holmes or what's the other guy's name?
Watson.
Boom, you guys picked up what I was putting down there. But, yeah, it doesn't take a detective to find out what's going on with the Cleveland Browns. Benji, your thoughts on this game before we dive into the high school preview?
Well, I'll definitely say, everybody's going to be keying in on Derrick Henry, but Lamar and Zay Flowers, they've been on a heater this year.
It's like Deontay Johnson who?
Man, I was like, when they traded for him, I was like, that's not going to help. But him and Zay Flowers, I think, what was it, last week against Denver, I believe?
Yeah, 5 catches, I think, over 100 yards and 2 tutties to go along with it.
Zay Flowers, there's some conversations that need to be had with him and top 10 wide receivers in the league. I'm just saying.
Well, now you had Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
To the mix, right?
I mean, adding it to the mix, I think, is beneficial to kind of keep. Eyes everywhere with Mark Andrews and yeah, exactly.
And Likely's probably out for this game as well against the Bengals. So then Mark Andrews will probably play a bigger role, obviously, too.
Well, we've got Banji Bombadella in the building with us. Jack Patterson says, how is everyone? How are you doing, Jack? Great to hear from you. Excited about the next Wrestling Against Cancer, which Jack will put together, and it will be for my cousin, Ryan Holland. So that's going to be very exciting for me and for the family. Don Owen says, Florida Gators will beat Texas this weekend. Mark my word. But we'll move on to some high school action here with Banji Bombadella, who's your sports reporter for the Panama City News-Herald, who does just such a wonderful job writing and then also giving you guys polls so that you can voice your opinion. And his latest poll was, who's the best marching band in Bay County? I went back and looked at the numbers. You posted the numbers. tell us a little bit about this poll and who ended up winning.
Man, so, I just wanted to give the people a chance to, vote and voice their opinion on who's the best marching band in Bay County. I did not expect the amount of votes that would come in. I believe over 180,000 total votes.
Yeah, because the winning team had 80,000 votes on their own.
Yeah, and it was across 6 continents. It was 30 countries: Australia, Afghanistan, Argentina, Chile, Japan. I was just like, who knows people over there?
Where did you have this poll?
It was on the News Herald.
So it was on the website?
On the website, yeah.
This wasn't like Twitter where you're reaching the entire world
this
or something.
Is on the newspaper website.
Look at you bringing Raiders into our little area here.
Hey, that's what happens when you come from Metro Atlanta, baby.
Thank you. But your
editor had to be like, "Let's go."
Yeah. Bro. I got posted on the company newsletter, like the US edit. Man, it was a good thing.
But
anyway, so Mosley with 89,000 votes won, and they're led by a great guy and director, Doug Dobos.
Yeah.
I was like telling one of the other reporters over there in Pensacola, Mosley scores so much, we hear the band so much, it's like they are the best because I hear them so often. It's like it's hard to be when they're drilling teams 50-0. It's like, yeah, that band, keep on playing, guys.
They stand out.
Yeah, for sure. So it was just a nice thing to do, and it's good for the kids too, because it's something that they're not always going to get the shine, because the football team gets the shine, the basketball team gets the shine, but to give those marching band kids the shine, it was a heartfelt, heartwarming kind of a story to do.
All right, man. That was really cool. And just seeing the amount of votes, because next was it North Bay?
Yes, I believe it was North Bay, then Arnold.
Yeah, and North Bay Haven had around like 40,000 votes. I mean,
that's amazing, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
And the reason I asked it wasn't like Twitter or something, because there's like those bots that are out there on Twitter that just go and just do whatever just to try to get clicks and interact with as many people as possible. And so for you to have that on your own website, that amount of traffic, that's impressive. That's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. You're doing such a great job, man. Brackets released for playoff football. I misspoke. I don't know how I misspoke. Earlier talking about Arnold and Pine Forest, I was on Max Preps and it said Arnold's hosted Pine Forest. I thought that it said November, I guess it was 9th or whatever, because you know how you click on the date and then like it just... But then I'm trying over here, and it won't let me go past this Friday or this Thursday. I believe we have some action. So, anyways, I don't know how I did that, but I did it. So maybe I was just looking at a mirage. Maybe I was tired and didn't know it. I don't know. But the brackets do release this Friday, 5 p.m. for high school football. What are you thinking for? Let's go through the 3 teams just right here directly, and then we'll kind of recap later. But where does Mosley land in the 5A bracket?
Well, this one is kind of hard because with last week's loss, I believe Mosley should be the 2nd seed, the number 2 seed behind Niceville. They're going to end up being behind, but I think they should be above Lincoln. So Mosley should be the 2nd seed. They should be hosting for the first round. They might have to travel. Depends on how those games turn out. But yeah, Mosley would definitely end up being, I think, the 2nd seed.
Oh man! So what about for the Arnold Marlins?
Arnold, I believe they're going to be around like the 5th or 4th seed.
So they travel?
They're more than likely they're going to travel. But I mean, it's going to be a team relatively on their level, so they have a good shot, I believe.
Hey, moving on. And Coach Griffin had a great run with Bozeman last year in the playoffs. I was there for 2 of those games that they hosted at Bozeman, and they were absolutely electric. And then what about for the Bay High Tornadoes?
Bay High, see here, I believe they're going to finish the regular season 5-5, so that kind of helps them, win column-wise. And also being district champs kind of helps, but I do believe they're going to have to be on the road for the first round of the playoffs.
Well, hey, but you made the playoffs, right? Exactly. Then when you start out the season, especially the way the Bay started out, where it was like, ooh, what, not like the wheels are falling off or anything like that, but you had to right the ship, and Coach Jeremy Brown and the Bay High Tornadoes spun up and righted the ship, and they had a big win against Bozeman this last Friday, shellacking the Bucks 41-7. Give us some of your takeaways.
Man, that Bay offense is lethal. It's finally gaining traction. Chris Noble as the kind of 1A or 1B with Xavier Morgan at quarterback. He had Chris Noble had 3 rushing touchdowns. Xavier Morgan had 3 through the air. So I mean, they're connecting. They're firing on all cylinders. That defense can get after quarterbacks, and they were haunting Hayden Gay all night. So Bay was definitely looking strong, and it's a great thing to have a big win, especially on. It was the centennial night, so it's a centennial celebration. So to have members of the 76th state championship game there, just having everybody there from years beyond or years before, it was great for them to get that victory.
Yeah, no doubt. 41-7, your final between Bay and Bozeman. Let's go to Mariana here, completing the undefeated season, right? They get a huge win over South Walton, 51-22, but we've got to get our update on our guy, Amari Clemens, who is what I think since week 3 we've been gawking over his numbers each and every week, and that's thanks to Banji kind of putting us on game. But what about Mariana and their win against South Walton and the Amari Clemens updates?
Well, I'm definitely going to get right to that. I accidentally looked up their basketball team.
Oh, there you go. I love when that happens. Maybe that's what I did wrong. Somehow just got into the basketball schedule, but I feel like I would have seen more than just one game. I'm really perplexed on what went down earlier myself, so I might have to just go check the history from the computer.
Well, Amari Clemens had 220 yards rushing.
Oh, light day.
3 touchdowns, Something light, but I mean, Mariana's going to be such a tough out in these playoffs. I'm excited. I'm going to be watching them for sure to see, similar to like Mosley in a way, if a team can shut down Clemens, if that's even possible. We haven't seen it at all this year. What does the Mariana offense look like? So that's what I'm really interested to see, like heading into the postseason.
And they have a good quarterback as well, right?
RJ Mays he is the truth. He is. And what the kids like to say, he is him.
He is him.
Like for what they have in the running back position, offensive line, he is still dealing in the backfield. He can also use his legs too. So running back, quarterback, they have a solid defense. They're a complete team.
Yeah, man, it'll be fun to keep an eye on what's going on up there in Jackson County with the Mariana Bulldogs. North Bay Haven, their season is over. Mm-hmm. They lose their final game
mercifully. I mean, at this point with them. Do you think there's
we were talking about highlights for teams last week, and what the best part of their season was, and I thought that was their 10th game of the season, so I was like, yeah, probably that the season is over. So we'll fast forward to this week, and I think that the highlight for North Bay Haven in this game was that, hey, the season is over, and they can kind of start anew next year. Hopefully they can hold on to their coaching staff for next year.
And for sure, and I want these athletes, the football players, go try a different sport. Go try play different sports. Like we have wrestling about to come up. We have weightlifting going to come up in the spring. So even basketball. So there's so many different. That's the beauty of football season being over. You start training for these other sports. So I think that's like a blessing in disguise for this North Bay Haven team.
Hey, absolutely great way to put that. Port St. Joe getting a shutout victory over Jefferson County, 45-0. Now, was there any playoff implications here for Port St. Joe?
I don't believe so. But I mean, it's still a great way to close out the season, especially. I mean, 45-0. I expected them to win. I didn't expect them to win by that much.
Right.
That's where it's like, wow. I mean, but I think they were at home, so playing at the Tiger Shark Stadium. I've been there. It's with the surrounding where people could pull up on golf carts and stuff on the sideline. It's an amazing experience over there. So I'm happy for the Tiger Sharks.
That is really cool stuff there. Cottondale as well, a team that we haven't mentioned very much this year. They finished their season at 9-0. With a 64-9 win over Joshua Christian Academy. What can you tell us about Cottondale?
They have a running back of their own, Jakarian Garrett, and him and Clemens are 1A, 1B as well in terms of running backs because they both average 200 yards per game. So I believe Garrett had a game where he scored 6 rushing touchdowns in a 55-50 victory. One, I think against, it might have been Liberty County or something like that. But they're going to be another hard out in the playoffs. It's a lot of fun teams in the Panhandle, especially in this postseason. It's going to be fun to see what plays out.
Well, we've got one more game to recap, then a couple of previews to get into. Then maybe we'll take a look at what teams in the sport of soccer Banji's going to be watching out for this year. And then also a track and country star from North Bay Haven is going to be headed to run in college, and we'll see where she is running to and who she's running for. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll take a quick timeout, and briefly we'll be right back.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
The suggestion that Mike Tannenbaum made on Get Up, that the Lions get Myles Garrett and the Browns get 3 first-round picks, a 2026 second-round pick, and Jahmyr Gibbs. If the Browns were ever offered that and they said no, just fold.
This is draft day, Sonny. We getting all my picks back?
I want David Putney too, though, and pancakes.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle. Weekdays 5 to 7 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Wednesday. A possibility of thunderstorms and light rain the remainder of the day with a gentle breeze out of the east at 8 miles per hour and temps near 79. Tonight we will have possible thunderstorms and light sprinkles and be very warm at 73. A variety of mostly clouds and a possibility of thunderstorms tomorrow and a high 82. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
That Cajun Place is your LSU and Saints football headquarters. Saints and LSU fans, wear your team colors and score a free Jell-O shot when your team scores a touchdown. Only at That Cajun Place. Get $5 pitchers on select draft beers during all live football games. Catch all the games at once with the NFL package on 27 large TVs at That Cajun Place. And the best wings on the beach. The locals' favorite, That Cajun Place.
God, guns, and wrestling. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're back and we're dancing. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. David Hayes, AG, Caveman Rick, and our special guest on Wednesdays, Banji Bomadella, and our guys on YouTube riding on the Banj wagon right now, and our commenters on YouTube, which Kyle Albritton has his own thoughts on what his personal band would be, but they just didn't happen to make the crack for the Bay County or for the Panama City News Herald because they're not in Panama City. So we're not going to put. He's talking about Niceville. He's a Niceville guy through and through. That's where he graduated from.
Didn't
so
hear them against Mosley though.
I don't know. They were pretty. They were pretty loud to start the game. Oh, Banji coming with the smack talk. The final game for us to talk about, though, is those Mosley Dolphins fall into Florida High 30-27, which you were able to keep up with this game because they had, I believe it was 4 quarters online broadcasting the game. Those guys do a great job. But yeah, they end up losing 30-27. Very tough game. What were your thoughts? And then we can kind of conversate on this game for a little bit.
This is one of those ones where you either think, did Mosley let this one slip away or did Florida High do enough to get the victory? And I think Mosley let this one slip away. I mean, opportunity after opportunity, especially when your defense has been so good. So I'll just say in that fourth quarter when LaCavian rushes in for that touchdown to get the lead back and there's 2 minutes left in the game, you want to rely on your defensive guys, you want to rely on your defensive pieces, but it's one of those things where you just saw in one play, I believe Florida High threw a screen, in one play they got 40 yards. So that already puts you on your heels, and then play after play they kept on making, they got down to the goal line. It almost seemed inevitable for them to get in and score and win the game that way. But then also, when I was watching it on the sideline, when 6 seconds left in the game, right? They try a dump off play to, was it LoJack the first time? And that
when there's 6 seconds, and then
dropped it, and then they did it again. I was just like, that first one.
The first one, the development of it looked like there was something that could have happened from that. And, I mean, obviously it feels special anytime that he touches the ball. You're like, oh, this could go all the way. But, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just like, that first one, I was just like, that was their chance because he could have got some yards, try to get out of bounds real quick, so then have another play. But once that happened, I was like, yeah, this one, there's you could, even the second time when they threw and he caught it, he still got almost 40, 50 yards.
Yeah.
But he was running out of space on the sideline, and that's game over, clock goes to 0. And I was talking with Coach Whitten, and he just told me, he's like, we didn't execute. Down the stretch, we didn't execute, and we had too many mistakes, too many mental errors, and that's what really cost us the game. But once again, just to reiterate, Florida High is a good team. Florida High is a great team, and you, at the beginning of the season, he wanted that challenge at the end of the season, just to have like a kind of a litmus test of where the team is at, and he figured out they're capable of hanging with the Florida High, but they're also capable, they could have won that game.
Yeah.
So, you know, the quest to be undefeated since 1981, that hasn't happened yet, so they're still going to be waiting.
Yeah, they are going to be waiting. We'll see what happens next year. This really felt like the shot. It's obviously very tough to go undefeated in high school football at any level of football. It's very tough because everything has to go right. And sometimes calls don't go your way, but that, you know, that's a part of the game. And so, yeah, there were a few calls that didn't go Mosley's way, but I'm sure that if you're from the Florida High perspective, there was calls that didn't go your way in that particular game. One of the biggest things is, and this wasn't even really on the players as much as some on the coaching staff, was like they started losing their composure a little bit because of everything that is falling out of their fingertips, falling away from their fingertips. And I get that. Now, if it's Coach Whitten making that, then it's like, yeah, no, all right, hey, like, that's the head coach. It makes sense. If it's someone else, I can only imagine like the conversation had afterwards with Coach Whitten. But that backed them up. They had two basically sideline personal fouls, 15-yard penalties. So one of those on the kickoff, and then another one on the kickoff. Essentially, when it was actually the kickoff, because one was right after the touchdown that put Florida High up, and then you had the next one on the kickoff, and so that put Florida High so deep into the territory of Mosley, which you would have liked to see if they got it at the 40. LoJack is capable of, you know, running for a few seconds and now getting you to the 30, and then maybe you can get a quick out route, get inside of the 45, 30, or 45 or 40 and in Florida High territory and make something happen. But also, on the flip side of all of that, you didn't get the undefeated season. All right, but that's in the past. Now you've got this chip on your shoulder, and you can add fuel to your fire ahead of the biggest part of your season. And I think that that's a huge, and I know for a fact Coach Whitten is using that as a driving motivation.
That's what I was going to say, right? Is like, I mean, how many times do we see it on the professional level with these athletes where their heads get big and they feel like they're invincible and all they got to do is show up? Right? And now you're talking about high school kids.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Where they go into their high school, they're the kings, they're the alphas, and then all of a sudden, now they're back down to earth, right? So there's a reset. And it's a good thing that it's the last game of the season. I mean, it's never a good thing to lose, but, you know, at that point, they had already clinched the playoffs. So, you know, having that loss as a coach, I think, is such a teachable moment for him to be able to say, okay, guys, I've been trying to tell you, this is what it takes.
Yeah.
You all didn't respond. Now's our chance to get back to what we've been doing. Our goal is still attainable.
Yeah.
It's just a little tougher, but I know that you have it in you to do it because I've seen what you had done prior to this past game. So it could be a silver lining, if you will.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. A loss, I mean, look at college football right now, right? A loss does not end your season. Now you get to loss number 3. That might not end your season, but it just doesn't get you into the college football playoff.
If you're Bama, then you can lose to Vandy and still have a shot.
I mean, come on, brother. Number 1 team in the nation, right? I think me and Banji just got done going over that in the previous...
We're going to talk about that. Then Georgia State is really number 1.
Hey, transitive properties, baby. Oh, man, it's been so great having you coming in with us. You do great over the phone, but just the reactions that we get in person are absolutely priceless. So Port St. Joe, they have one more game this week, right? Thursday, I think they've got Bluntstown. Give me a player to watch and maybe a score prediction for that game.
Well, I'll definitely say for Blountstown, they have a running back. He's number 1. His name is escaping me right now, but he's one of those guys. I think he averages 100 yards per game, so he's easily a 1,000-yard rusher. And if they get him going, Blountstown should. And Blountstown has some impressive victories these past couple of weeks.
K.N. Martin?
Yes. Yes, because I remember watching him in their win against Rutherford. He just run left, and just 5 yards, 6 yards, 8 yards, and just like chugging, moving the chain. So I definitely think Blountstown will end up getting this victory. I would have it 28-7. So, I think that's 15, or I'm not good at math.
You said 28-7?
21-point lead.
There you go. I'm not golly.
I was like, wait, did I hear like 28-12 or something? Like, I don't know what I heard, but 28.
That's why I'm a writer, folks.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man. Well, this next question is absolutely irrelevant. The playoff outlook for Bay and Mosley. Give us your playoff outlook for Bay and Mosley.
It's interesting because I believe Bay, because of the events of last week, Bay's the harder team right now. And being Bay, I believe Bay's in Class 3A. They have an opportunity. I believe they could get a first-round upset. I believe they are capable offensively and defensively to hold teams and score on teams at will. Mosley, it's all about the response. Because, like Coach Whitten told me on Friday, he said, we can lose this one, but we can't lose another one. From here on out, we have to win it all. So I'm just interested to see, because in the middle of the season, he was telling me about how some egos were starting to rise throughout the team, because it was they were 5-0. I think they were just coming off a win over Rickards, and they were feeling themselves. They were, all of that. But he was just like, we're trying to nip that in the bud, because that's our biggest like negative right now. We have too many egos, too many guys thinking they're bigger than the team and stuff like that. So if he can, as long as he can, like you said, get that flip switch of them like, okay, we have our focus now, we have our mission, we know what defeat feels like, let's go on a run. I believe Mosley minimum Final Four.
Minimum Final Four.
Yes.
So, wow, is that because the rest of 5A just doesn't look that strong, or what is it that gives you that kind of confidence in this team?
It's low jack. You can say it. It's low jack.
Well, but there's just so many weapons. I mean, Carson Griffin has.
Yeah, but we all saw in the game against the number 8 team in the state of Florida, they went to one guy and one guy only. Agent Zero, the Terminator, whatever you want to call him. Action Jackson was the guy they went to.
Ooh, Action Jackson. I like that one too. It does.
And we saw one guy can beat your team. So I feel like, because if it all works out how we think it might work out, they are going to play Niceville in the region final.
Okay.
So
when we're talking about these rankings 1 through 8 or whatever, is that that's regional and not state rankings?
Yeah,
then?
Regional.
Okay, so that does change things. So so it would be like that would be the second or the third round of the playoffs, probably the third round regional final.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you would go to the semifinals of state at that point, and then it would be,
which is crazy. We have to go to Miami. We're not, but
yeah, we'll be having to figure out what the world's going to happen at that point. But game by game, hey, I'll root from here for Mosley at that point in time. Arnold soccer got underway last night. I believe Bay had played McClay 2 days ago. I'm not entirely sure on what the final score of that was. I'm not even sure if they did. I just saw something on Facebook where it looked like there was a game getting ready to be played between Bay and McClay, but I'm not entirely sure. Soccer starts, once football's over, then I'll start paying attention a little bit more so to soccer. I'm not as good as you, Banshee. You keep us updated with everything. But Arnold last night getting the job done against a really good Gulf Breeze team. 4-1, I believe.
4-1, yes.
And Coach Hammond wasn't even on the sideline last night because he was sick.
Oh, I didn't know that.
At least according to one of our sources, which has had 2 kids pass through the Arnold athletic program and are now playing. One's playing Division I and one's playing over there at, somewhere in Mobile. Soccer.
Huntington?
Yeah, I believe it is Huntington. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the Arnold got the victory 4-1. I mean, they're starting their title defense. Last year they won the state title in soccer, but also other happenings in boys soccer. Bozeman played Freeport. Freeport won 8-1. And then also yesterday, girls soccer, North Bay Haven beat Bay 8-0. and Mosley beat Rutherford 8-0.
Wow. That's a lot of goals.
Yeah, a lot of Mosley and North Bay Haven had the two top goal scorers, I believe, in the Panhandle last year, and Emma Smith for North Bay Haven and Zamaya in Mosley. She's off right now at University of Florida. So go Gators, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'll never say that again. Yeah. So, yeah.
What if you're talking about Weewall?
No.
Real quick, Danny did say, our buddy Danny, whose children played at Arnold, he did say that Arnold boys soccer lost 14 seniors and 9 of 11 starters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's huge.
Then for them to bounce back in the first week.
Repeat.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, you win 2 state championships in 3 years. I mean, Hammond has a system over there that works. They were Max Prep's #1 ranked team in the country.
Yeah.
So I won't be shocked if they're going to be headed back to DeLand at the end of this season.
See, why can't our football teams be traveling to DeLand? I don't mind taking a little trip near the Daytona area.
That's still a 6-hour drive.
It is.
And I did it.
It is 6 hours, though. 6 hours is better than 9 hours, right?
True.
No doubt about that. And who knows how in the world the traffic's going to be. Let's talk about the North Bay Haven track and country star, though. Where is Margaret going to be going?
She's going to be running for the Florida State Seminoles.
Really?
Yes.
That is a big time deal.
Margaret Bartlow, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Well, I wasn't trying to steal all the thunder, so I was gonna give it to
Just making sure she gets her dues.
Yeah,
it
was gonna come. It was gonna come back around.
She has the Bay County records in every long distance event anyway. So I mean, people are gonna know her.
Probably just say Margaret and people know.
Like, oh, North Bay Haven Margaret. Yeah.
850-215-6290. What is Margaret Bartlow's nickname? She's got. I mean, you can't have all of those accolades and records and not have a nickname, right?
Is that the trivia question for today?
It's not even a trivia question.
I thought you set it up like it was a trivia.
I don't know her nickname. No, I'm just trying to get some information for the people. So if you're a supporter of North Bay Haven, tell us what the nickname of Miss Margaret Bartlow is. But Florida State, that's huge.
Yeah, and just, we were both there at the softball thing for Kaylee passed there.
Yeah.
Florida State got a pipeline in North Bay Haven now.
Hey, speaking of pipelines for Bay County High, kids, how about Randy Pittman's Hail Mary catch the other day?
Yeah. That was sick.
Yeah, that was sick. Awesome to watch. I'm sitting there watching and I'm going, I know who that kid is. Look at him go.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and he was such a stud at Mosley. He was one of those guys, and you know this because you've been watching high school football for a while. You can see them when they're walking alongside of their team, that's a D1 athlete.
That's the D1. Yeah.
Exactly. And he was that.
I played against some D1 athletes where I'm just like, we are not.
You look like a D1 athlete, though, man.
Right, There's over here yoked, and he's that's a big guy.
I come in to give my guy a handshake every time, and I'm like, whoop, okay, all right. I didn't know I was walking into a brick wall.
I played against Jameer Gibbs in high school.
Really?
Yes. And Justin Fields. So Justin Fields especially, God.
the look, man, you just gave us here at the studio.
5 touchdowns by halftime. It was over. I was like, I don't want to play football anymore.
Yeah.
That's how it made me feel. But
I'm going to write from now on.
For real. So, you could tell when there's a D1 athlete. You can tell. And, that catch was amazing, by the way. He had 2 touchdowns that game. So, yeah. And I feel bad for Arizona. They had such a good start to the season now.
And they have one of the best wide receivers in T-Mac, and that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. You catch fire for a little bit, but you better hope that you don't or that you kill the oxygen or cut the oxygen away from that fire, or else it's going to go out. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Banji, thanks so much, as always, for coming in. Coming up next, Morgan, Adam, and Caveman Rick will be making their picks for Week 11. Keep it locked in to ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Coach James Hale Show.
Yeah, it's been an interesting weekend of college football.
Hey, Dr. Mitchell, it's Coach Norman.
Good. You giving us a story about James Hale? Is that?
I got plenty of stories about James Hale, so, it's hard to pick one, I figured if he wasn't there, I'd call because I'd much rather talk to you than him, but you know how that goes.
Weekday morning 7 to 9, ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. For tonight, very light rain and a low of 73 with a light breeze around 7 miles per hour coming out of the east. Tomorrow morning, light rain with temps around 81. In the afternoon and evening, lightly raining and mostly cloudy with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 82. Moving into Friday, about the same with a high of 81 and mostly cloudy. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM. Or call us at 850-851-0453.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Lucid Stream TV. Get over 2,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch local network channels from most major markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $41.99 a month. Cut the cord, not the fun. To get Lucid Stream TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click the Lucid TV logo.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are live. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs for hour number 2 here on ESPN Northwest Florida. This Saturday, we've got a great doubleheader for you. Starting off at 2 o'clock coverage, we'll start for Georgia and Ole Miss for a 2:30 kickoff. And then at 6:30 that evening, Alabama, LSU. Which game are you looking forward to the most out of those two games?
I think Alabama, LSU, Death Valley at night. I mean, it's always fun. Right. I mean, even as an Alabama fan, you have to look forward to going to LSU at night and playing. Just because the environment, the atmosphere. It's going to be weird. It's not on CBS.
Right? But I really have come to enjoy the games being on.
No, I agree 100%. That's why I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying it's a weird
I think it's
situation.
weirder seeing Big Ten games on CBS. You're like, oh, this just don't seem right. Because we're used to seeing SEC games on ESPN, you know, so it wasn't that hard of a transition. Whereas for watching Big Ten games and Gary Daniels and Brad Nessler calling those games, it's been a little bit different there. But we do have Morgan Hilliard in the building with us. Morgan is actually wearing pink on this Wednesday afternoon.
She hit the reset button.
Hit the reset button. We need about 30 of those reset buttons.
Did the laundry this past week.
Did the laundry this past week. Sometimes you need a dump button. Sometimes you need stabilizers on your soda cans. It's like you're just coming to a barrage of rockets.
It was
just
like
shot at you.
accident Barbie.
I just walked into the studio and I'm already messing things up. I'm not having a good run the last 2 weeks, I guess. I want to say the lights are on in someone's home, but there's actually no promises after what I just did. I was like fully confident walking in here, and I'm just going to take all of that back now and just shove it down and just no. Can we start over? Hi, it's so good to be here.
Oh, how are you doing? Morgan, Texas A&M got whooped last week.
Even Jimmy chimed in and said she jinxed it not wearing pink last week.
Oh, it was so true. I was so excited, I was so proud, and then I didn't wear pink, so I made sure to even put on like very bright pink lipstick today for all of you watching online, because clearly that's the only thing that actually is going for me is the pink.
So really,
everything else.
All good things for Texas A&M's season this year is solely derived off of the fact that you wear pink for them.
Literally, everyone has their weird, like, game day thing that they do, you know? Like, some people wear the same outfit every Saturday, or they do the same, like, you know, this is what I do, like, ritual throughout the day. I guess mine, I have found out now, is pink. We can't stray from it.
Well, and give us the reason again last week why you were wearing the colors that you were wearing.
I wanted to wear maroon and black for the blackout game, and then also just to flex on you because we blew out LS Who. But,
Doesn't much matter now, does it? Yeah, it does. You guys are still in the driver's seat for
we
it.
only dropped to 15 from 10, so it's not a super significant drop. I mean, still it's still a drop, but we could have fallen all the way off. We could have dropped to 18 or 20. At least we're still in the top 20, so I'll take that.
Yeah, no, great point. All right, let's dive into our Week 11 pick'em, and then Morgan will dive into all of her thoughts, which I'm sure there's probably more thoughts that come with a loss than there does with a win, right?
I actually was able to find a couple of things that I'm actually very proud of that they did right. I know it's very hard.
That game put me to sleep.
I know it's very hard to see the positives sometimes, but we're going to talk about both.
Silver linings are always great. Well, we've got to.
I didn't get to watch that game very much because
you didn't miss anything. You didn't miss anything.
I was watching Louisville demolish Clemson on the road.
Give your quick synopsis on that game because we haven't gotten to that point today, and Morgan needs a break to catch her breath and think.
Please.
So went into that game not overly confident based on the defensive performance from Louisville. I knew that we had a chance if we were able to get a couple stops against Clemson because I didn't know if we would be able to, but. The fact that our offensive line, as banged up as it was able to keep Tyler Shutt clean. I mean, no sacks in the game. Able to come out and put some points on the board early, tied it up at halftime, or took the lead at halftime after a turnover, and then got the ball back in the second half. So it kind of gave them some separation there, but just big defensive plays. I think we had 9 pass breakups, which is
PBU, baby,
which is pretty awesome considering the fact that they run the ball so well with Maffa, who's a monster, by the way. I don't know if you've watched Maffa. He is. He's a huge human being. But limiting them offensively the way that Louisville did, going on the road at night in Clemson, which I think the last time they lost at night to a conference foe was Florida State in 2013. Was that right? Championship year 13 for FSU?
Oh, yeah, 2013, yeah.
Right, so...
2014 was the first college football playoff year, and they lost to Oregon.
Yeah, so not an easy thing to do, but big win. And Brom always seems to find those, right, once a year.
Yeah,
those
game he ain't got nan business winning.
Double-digit underdog, go on the road at night.
I actually thought about you over the weekend when I saw your game. I was keeping up with it while I was watching my game.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, because there was plenty of opportunities to change over.
Okay, we're not going to go there. Anyways, I was keeping up with your game, and the first thing I thought of was, oh my God, we just talked about how we didn't pick Louisville just because we said every time we pick them, and the exact scenario, we spoke that one into existence.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's a big win.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Friday, we've got Iowa at UCLA. UCLA is a 5.5-point dog, total sitting at 44.5. AG, lead us off.
Iowa's tough, man. I think they're a really, really good team. The offense is very surprising this year, considering I think they averaged 9 points a game last year. So give me Iowa on the road.
Mo?
I will take, love that, by the way. That's what I go by usually. I will also take Iowa on the road.
You go by Mo normally? I thought it was Barbie, but...
It is Barbie, but
Barbie!
I can't have everyone call me Barbie.
Yeah, no doubt. We definitely don't appreciate that here, except for the Barbie. What do we call them?
The Barbarians?
The Barbarians. They like the Barbie side of that. Caveman Rick?
Not Conan the Barbarian, but I'll take Iowa, though. I usually take the home team on these Friday games, but... I'll take Iowa on the road.
All right, we'll move right along here to who Don Owens is guaranteeing to get a win this week, Florida. He's got guaranteeing that Florida is going to beat Texas, and Texas is a 21.5-point favorite at the house, total sitting at 47.5. AG.
The Florida defense was actually really good last week against Georgia.
For 3.5 quarters?
But now they're on a walk-on freshman quarterback.
Aiden Warner,
Texas hasn't been playing very well offensively. Their defense is still good. Give me Florida to cover.
Florida within 21.5.
Yeah.
Mo.
I actually wanted to talk about this at 5:40. That was my controversy.
Okay, well, you can make your pick, and then we talk about it later.
Perfect. That was my controversy for today, though, so I'd love to see it on the pick'em sheet. I don't think that they beat them at home. I don't. They did have a great defense against Georgia over the weekend. I just don't think that they beat Texas. Do they cover? Maybe. But
That's what you got to pick, though.
Right. Yeah, I'm just going to go with Texas.
So Texas wins by 22.
Yes, it's at DKR. And isn't it a night game as well?
No, it's 11 a.m.
It's an 11 a.m.?
Yeah.
I still think Texas pulls it off.
Yeah, I like Texas to actually win this game, but I think Florida will stay within the points.
Ooh, I like it. It is a little bit of a trap spread there, being so high at 21.5. Number 2, Georgia taking on number 16, Ole Miss in Oxford. Ole Miss 2.5-point dog at the house, and the total sitting at 54.5. You can listen to that game right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Coverage starting at 2 o'clock for a 2:30 p.m. kickoff. AG.
Real quick, Jimmy on YouTube says Texas wins and covers. I'm going to go Ole Miss at home here. I think the offensive spark that they showed last week against Arkansas, Carson Beck has not looked the part, and if he continues to turn the ball over and gives Jackson Dart and that offense more opportunities, it could get a lot uglier for Georgia than most people want to recognize.
Mo?
I don't think that Carson Beck even knows who his own players are. Give me the TikTok stars, please. And if he wears as much eye black as he did last weekend, I don't think he can see at all.
I thought it was the crow. Like it was Halloween, you know?
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. He had
or maybe like
maybe
the
I don't
Bat, like not the Batman, or what was the latest Batman movie? Was it The Bat or something like that?
I don't know. He just had an excessive amount of eye black on. It
Yeah,
it
no,
was
I know what you're-
way too much.
Right.
I don't know.
For me, give me a Georgia. I'll take Georgia.
Kyle Alberton says, boo, Morgan hates me. Ha ha, JK.
Okay, I can't respond to Facebook messages all day, every day. I have a job and a life, Kyle.
I think he means like
Well,
is Kyle sliding into DMs?
Oh,
is that what's going on here?
All right, so you got any comments over there?
Yeah, Parker.
You would say that because you picked against Florida. Yeah, so
that was like
there you go, Morgan.
Parker Seago says Florida sneaky, Florida covers, and Jimmy says Georgia.
All righty then. Michigan at number 8, Indiana, or as we like to call them around this way, Windiana. Windiana is a minus 13.5-point favorite, and the total sitting at 48.5 AG.
I'm not calling them that.
You don't got it. You call them whatever you want.
Yeah, I just can't do it.
That's okay.
Yeah, so I'm still gonna pick Indiana to cover though.
Okay. So
I think
they will win, and then you put the W in front of the IN, and that's
You can.
Indiana. I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
I like that AG is sticking to his guts over here. I also
His
want
guts?
Indiana.
You're sticking to your guts over there, boy. What do you got, Morgan?
I'm going to take Indiana.
All right.
I'm riding with undefeated Indiana.
Indiana.
Yeah.
So, all right. So sweeping them out right there. Number 21, Colorado, taking on the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. And this is in Texas Tech. 3.5-point home dogs, the Red Raiders are. Total nice and high at 62.5 AG.
Real quick, Parker says, don't think Ole Miss offense can get it going against Georgia, so Georgia wins. He also says, Hoosiers. Jimmy says Indiana wins and covers. And Silos is back. He says, hi, Morgan.
Hi, CeeLo. I'm looking directly at the camera for you. What up, fan? I love you.
What up, fan?
Colorado at Texas Tech. Texas Tech looked really, really good last week, but I feel like Colorado is really kind of finding their groove right now. So give me Colorado.
Kyle Alberton says, great wingman work, AG. I don't have a mustache, though. I'm going to also take Shadur, who tweeted this week and said that he was graduating early, but I'm pretty sure he told all of us that his only option was football or the streets. So pick one. Pick a narrative and stick with it.
Football.
Which struggle do you want?
What's them all?
It's football for Shadur, man, and he sure is going to be one of the top draft picks in the NFL.
They're saying Raiders
next year.
I think that's a recipe for disaster.
Well, I think any quarterback that goes to the Raiders is a recipe for disaster, right? I mean, Derek Carr kind of made some things happen, but
Can he stop killing people?
Oh, boop. Okay.
I mean, whose side are you on that one with the whole Mike Thomas?
I don't like the way
Carr?
Mike Thomas called him out in public like that, but
He's like, it's like tweet out anytime that someone like hit you with a barrage of tweets. It's like 7 or 8. It's like, all right, bro, like maybe you should have played football a little bit longer and been relevant.
yeah. Yeah, how about you didn't, go down with a toe injury?
Toe injury every other week. Yeah,
right.
no doubt. Where are we at over here? Caveman Rick, right? Colorado, Texas Tech?
Yeah, give me Colorado.
All right. South Carolina at the number 1 team of the land, Vanderbilt. They're actually number 24. It's just a running joke me and Vanjie had earlier. I said they should be the number 1 team of the land. Vandy is a 3.5-point home dog against a team who just put a whooping on another SEC team, which shall remain nameless until the next segment. We'll get you guys all caught up on what happened at Texas A&M. 45.5 is the point total. AG, what do you think about this game between the Gamecocks and the Commodores?
Real quick, Parker Seago says Colorado wins. CeeLo says Ravens win. We're not there yet. CeeLo's, hold your horses. Jimmy says Colorado for the win. And Parker says, yeah, now Carr is throwing hospital passes to Olave. I think this game is going to be really, really fun. I think it's going to be one of those games that is probably not going to get talked about enough just because it's not Georgia versus Alabama or Alabama versus LSU. But I think it's one of those games that is really, really fun because it's like two teams that we didn't expect to be where they are right now. And the way that they're doing it is really impressive.
Yeah.
But give me Vandy at home.
That's what I'm talking about. Mo.
I feel a lot of ways. AG summed it up perfectly. No notes there. I feel a lot of ways. I want to anchor down, but I also want to say like Shane Beamer season because they're not playing us. Thank God.
Yeah, back-to-back losses would be terrible.
Please be quiet. Let me anchor down with Vandy.
Ah, golly. Caveman Rick, who you got in this one?
I think South Carolina got their big win last week, so give me Vanderbilt at home.
All right, man. Let's go Commodores. I'm loving this. Washington is traveling a couple of time zones over to Penn State, heading over to Happy Valley. Penn State is number 6 in the land, and they need to cover 13.5 points in this game with a 46.5 point total. AG.
Parker Seago says, fun game, but South Carolina defense is legit. Not sure if Vandy holds up. CeeLo says Fano is delusional.
Made all your Delulu come Cholulu.
I think yeah, right. I think Penn State is really, really upset because of how they played against Ohio State because they just couldn't get over
just
that hump.
Like how they always play
again
in big
this year,
games.
right?
Period.
But if you watch that Washington at IU game, Washington looked completely outclassed. I feel like Penn State is probably right there along with IU. It's at Penn State. If it was at Wazoo, I would probably go with Washington, but give me Penn State at home.
All right.
I'm going to go
cover.
Washington to cover.
Washington to cover. Caveman Rick.
Let's see. Give me
Liberty or
tough.
give me death.
Yeah,
Patrick
right.
Henry.
Let me take Penn State.
Derrick Henry.
Penn State at home to cover the points.
You took the quote over. You got Penn State to cover the points?
Yep.
Oh, I like that. Number 9, BYU. Actually, I believe number 8 in the college football playoff rankings. These were, I put this sheet together prior to the CFP rankings, but we'll call them number 9 for now, even though they are number 8. BYU traveling to Utah to take on the Utes. Utes are a 4-point dog, total sitting at 40.5. AG.
Jimmy says South Carolina wins. Parker says James Franklin doesn't win big games. CeeLo says Penn State will rush for 300 yards.
Wait, someone said South Carolina doesn't win big games?
No, James Franklin.
Oh, James Franklin. Yes,
sorry, I kind of blurred those a little bit. I'm trying to be fast.
I mean, I don't think South Carolina wins big games either.
Jimmy says Penn clobbers Washington. Parker says no way it's close for Washington. Penn by 30.
Hit me with a South Carolina Selly right now.
I don't even know what that is.
The one with the shotgun that we talked about a couple weeks ago.
That's not a shotgun.
The one we talked about, I brought up a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
yeah,
AG,
I feel like
it's okay.
Kyler Murray right now.
I like the way BYU's playing. I know it's on the road, and this is a rivalry game. It's the Storm and Mormon battle, right? So give me the Cougs.
There you go.
Give me the Soakers.
All right. We learned about that a couple of weeks ago.
All right. Give me the middle-aged women, the Cougs.
All right. Number 11, Alabama, taking on number 14 in Death Valley underneath the lights. LSU is a 3-point home underdog, and the total is sitting at 58.5. AG, what do you think about this game? And tell me why you're rolling with the Tide.
CeeLo says BYU easy. Parker says BYU wins. Cam Rising, 8th year loading. And Jimmy says BYU wins. This game hinges on whether or not Jalen Milroe can be the Jalen Milroe before the second half of Georgia.
Come on, preacher.
Or is this going to be the Jalen Milroe we've had since then?
Well, he had a decent game against Missouri.
It's Missouri.
Okay. Brady Cook narratives, really?
Right.
Brady Cook wasn't playing in that narrative, so.
I tend to think that he's not. I don't think he's going to regress, but I think he's going to stay kind of where he's at. With that being said, I think LSU at night, at home, gets the dub.
You hear that, Jimmy? I just won a hat from you. No, it'll be a great game. Morgan, your thoughts on this game?
You know, I'm
Caveman Rick, who do you? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, rude. I really like your wide receiver, Ryan Williams.
Yeah.
I would love to see him have a great game, and I would love to see him stack some points on his little resume he's been building that I think looks fantastic for him.
Before he transfers to Texas A&M.
Exactly. Anyways.
Never.
Please give me the Tigers in Death Valley.
And for me, give me Alabama on the road.
That I just want to hear that echo in my ear right now. Alabama, Alabama, Alabama. Oh, yeah. So only one of us is picking the Tide here. We've got two taking the Tigers. Should be a really good game, and it means a lot for both teams. I mean, this is the road to the college football playoff. Whichever team wins this, they control their own destiny, provided that they can win the rest of their games on their schedule. Final one here. I wasn't happy about putting this one on the slate, but
It's
Oklahoma.
an ugly game.
I know it is an ugly game. I mean, Brady Cook narratives, ugh, that is disgusting. Oklahoma at Missouri. Missouri, 2.5-point dog. Total sitting at 41.5. AG.
Jimmy said, go Tigers. I'm going to look good in my new hat, Death Valley, baby. And then CeeLo says he's with Morgan, so LSU.
Thank you.
I don't really want to pick a team in this game.
You don't have to.
I feel like, no, I mean, I'm
Just
going
leave it
to.
blank.
But I feel like it's going to be one of those games that is going to be impossible to watch and enjoy because it's going to be ugly. I feel like it's going to be one of those 12,
like a Big Ten type game,
like
but
a 12
bad.
to 11 game, like a weird score kind of thing.
Like an like an SEC in the 90s score.
Right.
Yeah.
So give me Oklahoma 12 and Missouri 11. That's what I'm
So how do they get to 11? Is that a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and a field goal? Is it
that's what I'm
3
going
field
with.
goals and a safety?
Sure.
Okay. 12 to 11, man. If that hits, bro, that is going to be absolutely wild.
Oklahoma had a lot of injuries a couple of weeks ago. I don't see them really coming back from that. Also, they're trying their hardest, but I just don't see it in them. Brady Cook, I hope the speakers are loud at practice because you're going to need it. Give me Missouri at home.
Why is he going to need the loudspeakers?
It was something he said in his presser against Texas A&M.
Yeah, but they were playing at Texas A&M. They're going to be playing
I
here
know.
at
I
Missouri.
hope the point is, I hope he's preparing correctly.
Oh, I got you. I'm right there
Are
with
we
you.
there? Are
we? We are
Are
all
you-
the way
are
there.
your the lights are on over there, but
The
no
lights
one's
are
home? Okay.
the lights are like high beams when you're driving down the road and the other person hasn't turned theirs off yet. Caveman Rick, who do you have? Oklahoma, Missouri.
I got Missouri at home in Columbia, so Missouri.
All right, let's speed through these NFL games. Well, you don't have to. The more time that we take up out of the next segment, the better for everyone, right?
Right.
Bengals at the Ravens. Ravens are a 6-point favorite on Thursday Night Football. You can listen to this game right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Cover starting at 6:30 for a 7:15 kick. Bengals at the Ravens. What do you got, AG?
Bengals got to get a dub. I think Bengals eke one out.
Ravens.
Yeah, easy for me. Give me the Ravens at home.
Okay. Steelers at the Commanders. This is a great game also on ESPN Northwest Florida. Coverage starting Sunday at 11 a.m. for a 12 p.m. kick. Commanders are a 3-point favorite, and the total sitting at 45.5 AG.
Well, I mean, they both made moves at the deadline, right? Mike Williams and another
Preston
player,
Smith from the Packers.
right, going to Pittsburgh, and then you
Marshawn
get Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah, that was a great trade. by
I
the
think
way,
so
yeah.
too. I think so too. Give me the Commanders at home.
Give me the Steelers on the road.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels hasn't done so great against teams with winning records, so give me the Steelers since they have a winning record.
Okay.
Shots fired.
No, I mean, I don't think that shot's fired. That's kind of wild to think about because that means that they've played a lot of teams with bad records, right?
Yeah.
Because they've only got, 2 losses?
I believe so.
2 or 3. I think it's only 2 losses, though. So, yeah, that's an interesting fact. I did not know that stat, Caveman Ray. 49ers at the Bucks. Do we see CMC? AG would absolutely love that. 100%. The running back room just gets a little bit deeper for him. 49ers at the Bucks. Bucks are a 5.5-point doggy at the house. Total sitting at 51.5. Go ahead, take off, brother.
CeeLo says Ravens easy. Parker says Ravens. Jimmy says Joe Burrow for the win.
Ooh, Jimmy.
Well, he's LSU guy.
Yeah, I know.
Parker says Commanders. Jimmy says Commanders and the Offensive Rookie of the Year for the win. LSU Tiger guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then Phil McCracken says Skins at home.
Phil McCracken.
Welcome
Is that
in,
your
Phil.
actual name, Phil? There's no way, man. If this was the news, they would be like, yeah, that went right over your head, but not so fast, my friend.
I think CMC comes back. I think they lied to us week 1.
They lied to us, and he still hasn't been back.
I know. They lied to us week 1, and now they're saying, well, he's going to be limited. I don't think he's going to be limited. I think it's going to be full go. I think Niners win.
All right.
They also get Debo back, by the way.
Okay, yeah, and Juwan Jennings is back, too. It's like influx of ex-injuries at this point. Morgan.
I want Baker.
Huh?
I want Baker.
You want Baker?
I want Baker.
You take her?
At the house.
Go ahead.
To win, right? You want Baker to win.
This one's tough for me because, the Bucks just lost a close one to the Chiefs. Baker Mayfield, when he's an underdog, he actually plays pretty well. Give me the Bucks at home. Why not?
All right, we'll move on to the Lions and the Texans. Texans are a 3.5-point dog, total sitting at 49.5. This is Sunday Night Football. This game will also be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida coverage starting at 6:34, 7:15, 7:20 kick, actually. AG.
Jimmy says Niners, they are desperate, need the win. Phil McCracken says this is Ryan Warren, by the way.
Oh, what a YouTube name, my brother. That is good.
He watches a lot of SNL. Phil McCracken.
Phil McCracken.
And then Phil McCracken also says Bucks as in at-home dog. So
yeah.
Lions Texans. I think this game is going to be really, really interesting. Nico Collins potentially coming back. The offensive line for Houston hasn't looked good, but Detroit has also been kind of shaky defensively. Give me Detroit on the road.
Give me the Lions. They absolutely blew out Green Bay, held them to nothing in the second half. Give me the Lions. Shout out TK.
Yeah, Jared Goff, all of his games has been in domes except for last week and in some little bit inclement weather. He still did pretty good, so give me the Lions, man.
Hey, there you go. All right, final game, Monday Night Football again, right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Same coverage time, start at 6:30, but they will kick at 7:15. Dolphins at the Rams. Rams 2.5-point favorite, and the total is sitting at 50.5.
As long as Puka Nacua doesn't throw more punches, I think it's the Rams. How stupid is that? I mean, he's wearing a helmet. What are we doing?
That was like a number one thing in high school when if our coach saw us throw a punch at another player with a helmet on, he would go run just because of your stupidity. We're not even going to worry about disciplining you for fighting because you're just an idiot. Mo, go ahead.
Please give me Mike McDaniel's Dolphins.
Where do I live?
Florida.
Doesn't matter. I'm going with the Rams.
Pulling an opposite old school. Before we go to break, you got any good comments over there?
Jimmy says Lions, the better offense. They win a shootout. And Jimmy also says Sonic and Knuckles show.
Hey, there you go, man. All right, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Coming up next, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. We're talking Texas A&M and the shellacking they took at South Carolina with Morgan Hilliard, our Texas A&M pundit.
Ready to go under the lights? Mosley Dolphin football is back.
Wide open down the sideline.
ESPN Northwest Florida brings you live play-by-play coverage all season long. With David Hayes.
Touchdown, Mosley Dolphin.
And Kyle Wright.
You take the top off the defense, and the interception turns into points for the Mosley offense.
Exclusively on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. For tonight, very light rain and a low of 73 with a light breeze around 7 miles per hour coming out of the east. Tomorrow morning, light rain with temps around 81. In the afternoon and evening, lightly raining and mostly cloudy with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 82. Moving into Friday, about the same with a high of 81 and mostly cloudy. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
As a realtor, it's important who you choose as your title company. May we suggest South Oak Title? Their offices are modern, comfortable, and state-of-the-art. South Oak Title can close transactions in any location in Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. Their free mobile app allows realtors to deliver a net sheet in seconds. They provide mobile closing services to accommodate buyers and sellers. Their offices are beautifully decorated, state-of-the-art, complete, safe, and secure. South Oak Title, creating a better title and closing experience through technology and tailored service. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
But to be the man, you gotta beat the man. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on the Sports Talk Monster.
You're gonna be mine! Woo!
ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're back with the Afternoon Underdogs. You're tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. It's David Hayes along with Adam Goff, Caveman Rick, and our Texas A&M punted today because they punted a lot in that game. Morgan Hilliard, I'm just finding so many fresh ways to come at you this afternoon. Don't forget, though, we've got Auburn basketball right here on our air tonight. Coverage starting at 6:30 for a 7 p.m. tip. All right, Morgan, the floor is the mic is yours. Go ahead, take off. Don't trip.
You know what? Let's hope I don't fumble a snap right now. It was a very painful game. A lot of drinks were consumed. I will be very honest. It was
over under 35.
It was, don't even ask me that question. I'm not going to admit to that, where I know people that know me in real life are listening. I'm not.
They're like, over easy.
Hammering the over. Anyways, we couldn't trap Sellers. His leg game is so strong.
Yeah.
I don't think we prepared as good as we could. I don't think we were ready for how quick he can maneuver himself on the field. I don't think we were ready for that aspect of his run game, because he is a good QB and he brought a lot to the table, and I was very nervous about this game, like I had said. But, he brought a lot of interesting factors out and kind of just exposed our defense. And as much as I don't love it, I have to respect the grind, because he put one on us, and that's what it is. We had 25 total missed tackles, and if you want to know if I screamed every single time I saw a missed tackle, it definitely happened. I wouldn't say like things were actually thrown, but lots of like hands in the air, like, what are we doing, boys? We prepared for a solid run.
Did you feel like you got a shoulder workout after that?
In Talladega Nights, where Will Ferrell's doing that first interview, and he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Literally me the whole game, like, I don't know what to do with my hands either.
What's going on?
Yes, oh, God. Anyways, pause, bring it back.
All right.
So, I know we've prepared as good as we could. We kind of took something from Ole Miss's playbook, where they hammered them very hard with the run game, and that was our exact thing going into it, which you could kind of tell. But then the Le'Veon Moss injury was so devastating. I thought his leg was broken, but he's just supposed to miss the rest of the season. No final words on what that injury actually is yet. I'm nervous to know.
If you were Patrick Mahomes, you would just get right back up after a faking injury.
The way his leg flopped over and the hit he took, I don't even want to go there. Don't step to me with that right now, AG. It's blasphemy. I will not take this. But that leaves a lot of questions open for who is going to be our new running back. We have a multitude of great guys to pick from. We have Emmitt Smith's son. We have Amari Daniels, who also had a very beautiful, quiet down Selly in the first half, and I thought that was a really cute notion. I just thought it was cute. We have Noah Thomas, and we have the true freshman, Terry Bussey. But I will say this again, Bussey boy till I die.
Bussey boy till you die.
Bussey boy till I die. I need that on a t-shirt, by the way. That's what I want for Christmas from ESPN, is Bussy Boy till I die.
You think we got some like magic t-shirt
I'm not allowed to make jokes to you after
Yeah,
you've
no,
been
you can make
frying
plenty.
me?
No, you can make plenty of jokes. That didn't
Okay.
seem like a joke. It seemed like a serious request.
I'm just kind of trying.
So
not
if
to
anyone
freak
out there would like to help on behalf of ESPN and make Morgan a t-shirt, because me, Ryan, and Jay are very serious about making a t-shirt company, but we're just not right there yet. We've got
What is the name of this here company?
Jayisms, but you'd have to see how it's spelled.
Okay, let's come back. Randy Bond had a career-long field goal at 55 yards. If anybody got me, Randy Bond got me. I know that's right. Marcel Reed.
I love your little, Moisms.
Marcel Reed, he didn't have the best game I've ever seen him have, but I think he was very nervous, and I think the environment he was in, South Carolina at home, obviously had his head a little tripped up.
You got it.
Yeah, okay. Anyways.
We're talking business over here.
Okay, I got you. They rushed the field on us, so clearly we're their Super Bowl. It's probably the only time they'll get to do that for the rest of the season, so I hope they enjoyed that field rush. And keeping it with the Ags, I watched Aggie basketball the other night, and we lost to UCF by 3
I was going to bring that up.
and
I'm
there
glad
was
you are.
another court rush, and I literally, like, as soon as I saw it coming, I just clicked the TV because I was like, I can't handle this. Not 3 days apart. I can't handle this right now. I don't have the mental, emotional capacity to watch another rush on us.
Yeah, that was something. I didn't watch any of that basketball game, but I did hear about. I was like, oh man, y'all got.
I think they just felt like they had to do it because we just got rushed. So, I hope you had a great Super Bowl moment as well, because we're going to Aggie the crap out of this. Of course, that's the Aggie way.
Are you excited about the basketball season for your Ags this year?
My season doesn't officially start until February, right before we go to March Madness,
I think
because
that's just how football fans are in general.
No,
No,
I'm talking about basketball.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Football fans, we like basketball, but we'll keep up with some of the big games. We'll watch when we can, but it's like I'm not paying that much attention until after the football season
I see what
is
you're
over.
saying now. I'm following with where you're going with this, and no,
Lights on.
I say this completely because Aggie is going to Aggie. The Buzz Williams team is going to do exactly what Buzz Williams
So
team
you don't
always
need to
does.
pay attention to
Yeah, I
them.
don't need to, because I know we're going to have great conference games, everything out of conference that doesn't matter. We're going to absolutely blow it, of course, because that's exactly what we do. But when it comes down to it, like last year when we played Tennessee at home, we're going to absolutely put it on them. And then, oh, wow, maybe we are relevant. We'll get our playoff spot, and then we'll go to the NCAA tournament, and then we'll Aggie our way out of that as well.
There you go. So the season is
Parker actually was typing that as she was saying it. Parker says, Aggie basketball script every year, go on a run in the SEC slate, make the tourney as a bubble team, and lose in the first or second round.
There you go.
Yeah.
Aggie can only hurt Aggie.
Oh man, that's got to be an existence. I was going to say a miserable existence because it could be worse.
I mean, you could be Kentucky, right? Where
Yeah.
you get
Let
the
me-
number one
no
recruiting
Coach Cal.
class every single year, and then you lose in the first
Let me sum it
round
up for
to
you.
High Point and all these other directional schools.
Let me set the stage for
Okay.
how Aggie basketball works.
Build it up.
So I know, without saying anything, we'll leave this very broad. Last night, there was a very big event happening nationwide, and the emotion...
The college football playoff rankings.
Of course, college football playoff rankings is exactly what I'm mentioning.
That's what absolutely.
So,
okay.
anyways, there's a lot of emotional buildup. You don't really know. You're kind of sick to your stomach, but you also want the best possible outcome of anything that could come out of the events that took last night. That is what it's like to be an A&M fan. You're always sick.
My wife said it was like a messed up game of bingo watching
Yes.
that last night.
Watching the college football playoff rankings?
No, the other thing.
Oh,
The other thing, yes.
Yeah.
That is what it's like to be an Aggie fan all the time. So stick with me. You'll see this common reoccurrence of where we have these wonderful, exciting highs. It's like A&M, yes. And then it just sets you up to be drawn right back into battered Aggie syndrome.
Right, because college baseball World Series, right? Like you guys go on a run and then you look like you're in prime position to win the thing. Then Tennessee comes back, takes care of business, and
I
then the
know.
very next day, slash down. Nickel goes to Texas.
Ryan Tarjok's hit doesn't make it over the fence.
Yeah.
Could have been a home run, just a couple feet short. Weight room, my guy. But God, there's so many missed opportunities. But it's like the hope. The hope is there, but the battered Aggie syndrome always wins out in the end.
BAS. Battered Aggie syndrome, a legitimate thing for Aggie fans.
Bags? Is that what you said?
Well, I mean, you could.
You could go with
call it
bags.
bags.
Yeah,
Battered
I think
Ags.
you could.
Okay.
2 S's. Bags.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Whatever you say. But no, we have a bye this week, and then we're New Mexico State at home, Auburn on the road, and then Texas at home. So our next 3 weeks.
Which game are you more worried about? Auburn on the road or New Mexico State at the house?
Auburn on the road. Just because we can't go on the road and do what we just did this past weekend. And if we keep it close, I think we'll be all right. But if we absolutely get blown out in the second half again, there goes. And like Mike Elko said in his presser earlier this week, it's all attainable. It's doable. Focus on what's right in front of you. We can still win out. We just have to take it 1 week at a time. I think he summed it up really, really well. He's a very realistic speaker.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy listening to him just because he comes up to the mic and he's like, no BS. This is exactly what I think. This is what I'm going to present to you. And this is my attainable goal. Let me show you why it's attainable. And if we can keep that same mindset and keep the boys in the game and energized and with this same mindset, I think we will be okay. Because I watched his LSU halftime speech and I thought I was Shania Twain ready to kick doors down. Like, I was ready to go.
There you go.
Put me on the field. We already said that one time, but that's how it made me feel.
What position would you play?
I think you guys said I was an offensive lineman.
No. I think maybe fullback, right? Fullback.
No,
long snapper.
Long snapper.
Because you can't
touch the long snapper.
That's a great place for me.
There you
Actually,
go.
I think I would be a great.
Do you think you can get it back there, though?
I think I would be a great get back girl, like a coach's get back girl, so they don't.
Like
Like bring it
grab him
right
by the
back.
doctors?
Like talk enough in his ear, like I see you're fired. Like blah blah blah. But no, let's not go that far.
What about just having like a leash around their waist or something like that?
Like the toddler backpacks.
Yeah.
I think I would be a really good get back girl.
All right. So Texas A&M, if you ever need a get back girl, we've got one ready to go for you. She'll be at all. What do y'all have? Probably 8 home games, 6 or 7 home games. There you go. We'll send her out there. Not on our dime by any stretch of the imagination. That will all be on you, Texas A&M. Any other points that you have for the football game? And let me ask you this, though, real quick. With that loss to South Carolina, obviously it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it also doesn't end your season. There's still plenty of opportunities for you guys to not just get into the SEC championship, but, of course, the college football playoff. How are you feeling about the season? Because last week you were, ecstatic about it. Are you still like what's the adjective describing your relationship with this particular Texas A&M Aggie season?
My overall feelings are that it's still year one. It's still a round of first-year coaches for majority of our staff. Even if we made it to a bowl game, I would still say this was a very successful season for a rebuilding program. I'm still very happy with the way we have performed thus far. I knew that loss was coming somewhere, and I kind of, cursed to myself by not wearing pink.
Jinxed it, yeah.
I knew it was coming somewhere. Did I want it to happen?
You gave everyone baggy syndrome. What was
Bags.
it again?
Bags.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, but what's the B stand for again?
Battered.
Oh, battered. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Battered Aggie syndrome. So you are the reason. It's not anyone else's fault, ladies and gentlemen. Right here.
No, you know
Morgan
who
Hilliard.
the reason is? It's Casey Smith with Barstool Sports.
Oh, okay. So now we're gonna just place
no.
blame.
People are
hating on her on Twitter.
She deserves it. She
What'd
gets
she do?
up there and just spews. She just doesn't know how to shut her mouth.
Is she an Aggie?
She's right for the wrong reasons, but she's not even an actual Aggie. She's paid to like Texas A&M and boost on Texas A&M because we have to have some sort of person. I watched the same thing
But
happen.
why don't they actually pick like real fans of?
Dave Portnoy, if you're listening, I'm ready to step up to the plate. I already have resume experience. I'm sitting right here speaking to you. Just so you know, I would love to put an actual real spin on what A&M athletics is like, not some ploy that you pay.
There you go, Dave Portnoy. I would like to at least keep her on Wednesdays if at all possible, but if not, whatever, do what you got to do. You can pay her more than what we can. All right, we'll take a quick timeout, and then we'll get into a little local, and then hopefully Mo's got some notes for us for Mo Knows. We'll be right back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your home for the NFL.
Touchdown, Denver!
We bring you the biggest games every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night.
Oh, he's got the first down!
Plus, we'll broadcast more college football games than ever before.
He did what?
Live NFL and college football play here.
Unbelievable!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. For tonight, very light rain and a low of 73 with a light breeze around 7 miles per hour coming out of the east. Tomorrow morning, light rain with temps around 81. In the afternoon and evening, lightly raining and mostly cloudy with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 82. Moving into Friday, about the same with a high of 81 and mostly cloudy. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Well, it's that time of the year again, folks. Yep, Christmas is right around the corner. And to avoid the stress and rush, Tracy's Fine Jewelry is starting our Christmas sale early. That's right, all diamond jewelry is on sale for 30% off. All estate jewelry is on sale now for 40% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, and bracelets. Mark it off your list and lay away now. At Tracy's Fine Jewelry, we love to save you time and money. So avoid the rush and come see us at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, where Santa shops.
It's football season, and that boot store reminds you to roll tide. Go Noles, War Eagles, sick 'em dogs, and go Gators. Before the cold weather hits, shop that boot store for all your winter western wear and Carhartt work clothes to keep you warm on the job. That boot store, where God is good all the time. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5, and Friday and Saturday, 9 till 5:30. Next to Bill Burkey at 15th Street, Panama City, that boot store.
It moves fast. The High School Spotlight. Weekdays at 5:40.
Let's do it.
Sponsored by Barbaritos. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Keep it locked in here for some Auburn Tiger basketball coverage starting at 6:30 for a 7 p.m. tip. The Auburn Tigers are hosting the Vermont Catamounts. And then big day on Saturday for college football here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Georgia Ole Miss coverage starting at 2 for a 2:30 kick. Then Alabama LSU for a 6:30 kick. Caveman Rick, get that Bear Siegel information ready here in just a few short moments. I will let you ride out with that. I got to find my other page. Hand me your back page. That one right there. Boom. Told you guys about this at the beginning of the show. The Emerald Coast Cruising event will cause temporary road closures. According to officials, portions of West Park between Pier Park Drive and L.C. Hilton Jr. Drive will be closed on Thursday, November 7th and Friday, November 8th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Locals and visitors should avoid this area and plan accordingly for this event. And I will be on the other side of the bridge. Are you going to be enjoying the Emerald Coast Cruising event, Morgan?
I'm going to be honest, this is the first time I'm hearing of it. What is that?
It is a cruising event with hot rods.
Oh, it's a car show?
Car show, yeah, like hot rods and classic cars.
I mean, I could pull up if you need someone to. If you just need a face.
Yeah, we do. We do. You're going to be here on behalf of ESPN Northwest Florida. Thanks for volunteering yourself. We don't get that a lot around here. In fact, none of the employees volunteer. It's like, boss, you got it.
I get asked to do some PR for Perry and Young, and I'm happy to do it. But I mean, if you need a face to, put things together, someone who is a nice person in real life as well, I would be happy to do it for you. I need some details, though.
Okay. Why would we want to volunteer when we've heard on this show before that sometimes you volunteer and you actually have to pay to volunteer?
Yeah.
Why are we going to do that?
That's a great point. AG, you want to handle that next story there? And then Caveman Rick, after this story, then you get to the Bear Siegel.
The reigning state champion Arnold Boys soccer team rolled to a 4-1 home victory over Gulf Breeze in their season opener on Tuesday night. The Marlins improved to 1-0 and will host Lincoln on Friday, November 8th. The Liberty County volleyball team swept top-ranked Branford Wednesday morning, clinching a second state championship in 3 seasons. The Bulldogs finished the season with a 21-6 record.
I didn't know that about Arnold. That's my alma mater. Go Marlins.
Good. Go Marlins. Go Marlins. All right, Caveman Rick, Bear
all right,
Siegel.
So we got Bear Siegel, our own, Bear Siegel. Andy Siegel obviously helps us out on Fridays. We know Austin Siegel used to work here, and he was a great addition here. But his younger brother, Bear Siegel, is over in Baja Rain Wrestling. Let's see, he won... match 1 14-2 versus KSA. I think that's a Russian team, maybe.
Sounds like it.
All right, let's see.
No, that would be Saudi Arabia, right? KSA?
KGB is Russia.
Well, I mean, I thought that had something to do with them, but I'm not sure. This is just the initials.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia, KSA.
1/4 of the match. He won, or one of the other 4, he won 9-2 versus Saudi Arabia. He lost in the semifinal versus Iran to a 2-time world champ, okay? And then he went to the bronze medal match, and he lost to a guy from the Ukraine. So I guess he got 4th.
There you go.
Shouldn't that Ukrainian wrestler be actually on the front lines? I mean, don't they need all the help they can get? Maybe that's just me.
Maybe it was.
The Magic are going to be taking on the Pacers tonight. We will not be airing that game. But congratulations to Bear Siegel and what he was able to do over there in Bahrain. What's our last one there with Liberty County, AG, before we get to
I just read
Mo?
that one.
The Liberty County one?
I did, yeah.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
You read both.
Mo, let's go.
Okay, controversies for the week. I wanted to talk about UF and UGA. So, Gators corrupted the Bulldogs in a way. They said that on the commentary. I thought that was a great way to sum it up. I thought it was, perfect, right on the money.
Right
Chef's
on the
kiss.
money.
We talked about Carson Beck's excessive eye black. I hope he loses that. Ever since his girlfriend, one of the Cavender twins.
Hannah Cavender.
Yes. Ever since Miss Cavender posted
Really?
a picture of him, I swear.
I didn't know that.
How?
I didn't even know.
How, first of all?
How did we not know?
No, how
Oh.
did he pull her? Let's be real here.
Well, I mean, he does drive a Lambo.
Okay, at some
Have
point
you not seen those videos on
I
Facebook
know.
where guys like pull up in their Lamborghini
Listen.
and they're like walking beside it, acting like it's not theirs, and then they pull up to or walk over to the friends and it's like,
Let
oh,
me
y'all
stop
want
you right there. Okay, so pause. Some of us actually care about what people look like. I just don't think he's a very attractive guy.
Some people have different eyes
Something about
than
his
what
face
Morgan
doesn't
Hilliard does.
line up for me. So it's
So
not
he's
always
asymmetrical. Is that what you're
It's
saying?
not always about money, guys.
I think he kind of looks like an alien when you look at his
I
head.
think he does too.
I think he looks like Littlefoot, the dinosaur.
I just. You know what? Never mind.
From Land Before
Hey, let me
Time.
ask you a question. Did you see
ever-
any of the Louisville Clemson game?
Yeah, she flipped over there a
I
couple
flipped over
times.
a couple times.
Did
yeah.
you see Isaac Brown's touchdown to seal it?
Yeah, tell me how good he looked.
No, he's amazing, by the way. But when he runs into the end zone, he runs right up to the Clemson mascot who started flexing on him, and he did the go to sleep.
I didn't see that part.
It's
No,
pretty good.
That is good. That is good. Are you trying to set me up right now? Like, what's going on?
Well, I'm just making sure you're paying attention in the X verse or the Mo verse or whatever we call it.
The burnerverse?
The burnerverse.
So
There we go.
let's get to the burnerverse point of this game. So one of the Barstool boys, because the Barstool is just everywhere. One of the Barstool boys posts a picture, and he's like, "My favorite part of this game," and he's holding what looks like some wire. He's holding a taser wire. There was such a fan fight that broke out that security got involved.
At Florida,
And-
Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and
That
started,
was not cool.
pummeling those people, and I guess at some point they tased them, and the guy picked the taser. The Barstool guy picked up the taser wire and is like holding it in the photo to prove that he was right there next to them.
Did we ever figure out what the context was that led to those situations? Because I know that those officers are under investigation from the Jacksonville Police Department or whichever department it is.
So I saw a clip. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
You already did.
Here we are. I don't care. So there's a clip from that same guy with the taser wire, and it looks like they're just kind of being outlandish with the officers. They're instigating the entire situation. The fans are.
Right.
The fans are instigating the entire situation, and then one officer walks behind. He's recording like this. He walks behind him, and it kind of goes out of shot. You can't really see what's happening. I think he's trying to conceal his phone a little bit. And the next thing you know, the guy recording just like leans forward, and you can tell an all-out brawl has just started.
So this is between two fans, not necessarily the officer.
This is between two fans and the officers.
Okay.
Two fans instigated.
So there was a physical altercation that
Yes.
led to the security getting involved physically as well.
Yes.
And then once, because
only video we saw
shows
this-
him sitting down, right? Like
yeah, and
the
he's
one
getting like walloped.
Yeah.
At that point, just sitting down, it's like I mean, like, hey, the point's proven, bro. you know, and I don't know. That's just it's such a tough position to be in, and obviously, I don't want to pass any judgment not knowing what happened prior to. But I mean, it's still one of those things when you're an officer of the law. Like once you've like subdued the individual who is causing the problems, then at that point shouldn't it like be done? Like handcuffs really suffice at that point if they can't even put their hands
imagine
up.
you're that security officer and you've tased this guy 3 times at this point.
Yeah,
and he's still standing.
He's a better taser.
Well,
I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you used to sell them, right? I mean,
No, stun guns and not me. But anyways, those were junk. But yeah.
It was very excessive. I will agree. It was very excessive use of force by the officers.
And again, tough line. We're not making a judgment on what we don't know what happened prior to. That's very, very tough. I just like when seeing the video is one of the, and it's like that clickbait style video where you're seeing that and you're like, oh man, like that's an old man right there. Like, God.
what did you make of Tennessee booing the Kentucky kid getting hurt? Did you see that nonsense?
I didn't see exactly what you're
And then
talking
what
about.
he
I
said,
saw
and then
a
with
clip.
what they started chanting.
I saw
what they
a clip.
chant.
Can
you say it on the radio?
He's a
Come on, don't be like Morgan.
Female cat.
Female cat.
Yeah.
Meow.
Okay.
Purr.
Come on, man.
Yeah, but a female. Okay, but you could have just said cat, and I would have got it directly like that one. When you say female cat, it kind of takes me to
Well, I
female
was
dog,
trying
and
to
I
get
should
a
be making
connotation.
that. Okay,
Right.
I got you. But I mean, even a male cat.
But they
I
were
would still say
chanting
the
it
same thing about
while
him.
this Kentucky kid is laying
Yeah.
on the ground hurt, and they're
I think that ranks the same as Texas throwing the water bottles on their own field. It's just an
Clemson did that Saturday.
embarrassment to your program. I'm sorry. It is so embarrassing to your entire program.
Clemson did it Saturday.
Yep.
It's wild because it's the fan bases that you like with Ohio State, with Texas, and with Clemson. Like those are fan bases that you normally think of as very classy fan bases. I'm being nice to you here, Ohio State, me saying that, but it's the truth though. You normally think of them as a very classy fan base, unless you're Michigan.
We're
You wanna hear
considering
something
Texas
wild?
Classy?
Huh?
You're considering Texas classy?
I would say that most of the time that the way that their fans act a little bit more classy than daggone
I don't
Texas.
know. Down thing and all that, and how they get all. No, man.
living
Go
in
ahead, AG.
Louisville, living in Louisville and tailgating for football games all those years. We joined the Big East, and everybody told us, like when West Virginia comes into town, it's going to be ugly, it's going to be nasty. They were actually the coolest people.
Yeah.
That we like other opposing fans that we met. Like FSU fans were all stuck up and snobby, but West Virginia fans were actually like the real deal. They were cool. Like we actually enjoyed hanging out with some of those guys. So not every
fan base who gets a bad rap,
right? And not every fan base that
gets a good
rap is actually good. So.
Well, Morgan, anything that you'd like to leave the people with, I'll give you 15 seconds. The floor is yours.
I hope you all have a wonderful week. Enjoy your football without political ads this weekend.
Nice.
Hopefully. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Auburn basketball is coming up at 6:30. Until then, we'll get you out to Paul Feinbaum for 30 minutes. It's been the Afternoon Underdogs. We'll be back tomorrow at 4. Coach James Hale Show will be live at 7 in the morning. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley will be back at 11. Just remember the most important thing that I've said all afternoon. Jesus loves you, and so do I. Y'all take care. Be safe, my friends.
Your home for college basketball. ESPN Northwest Florida.
College basketball returns tonight. It's the number